My name is Lebohang Lebogo. I am the first South African National Blood Services drone pilot. We are currently at Durban Deep Radio Flyers and we're here to test the Tron drone. A drone pilot is someone who is licensed to fly model aircrafts. SANBS has chosen to use drones because they will arrive at hospitals a lot quicker and save patients' lives faster, especially in the event of the golden hour where the blood is required quite urgently. Currently we're doing a proof of concept, so we will be delivering blood from Sebokeng Hospital as well as Kopanong Hospital in the Vaal area. But ideally we would like to transport blood in rural areas within Southern Africa. In terms of the proof of concept, South African National Blood Services has purchased 2 drones. But once the proof of concept has been accepted by the CAA, we're looking to buy more drones. Our drone is designed to fit 2 units of blood. With our drones specifically, they can fly up to 180 kilometers per hour, but for efficiency we fly at 70 kilometers per hour. So our drones are equipped with technology that will avoid collision. They are fitted with a transponder and it has a camera in the front where you can see if there's any danger to the aircraft. So the manned aircraft, the ATC, can also see us as well. As South African National Blood Services' first female drone pilot, it's been a rather amazing experience. I mean, from someone with experience in the manned aviation, it was something I would never have thought of. Controlling an aircraft using a transmitter, using your hands, not being in the cockpit and actually pulling up the throttle. So it was quite a journey for me to be able to fly quadcopters and fixed wings. And I mean, I'm overwhelmed and I'm really blessed to have been chosen to be part of this project, to be able to save people's lives as well in the process. The concept that South African National Blood Services has taken is quite amazing because it will open new opportunities and doors for my fellow colleagues in the blood banks and processing centers. They'll be able to get to train as drone pilots, hopefully in the future, if all goes well. So in the event of that, I really encourage my colleagues to do it. It's amazing, it's fulfilling, and you get to save patients' lives in an efficient way quicker.
My name is Florian Seibel. I'm the CEO of Quantum Systems. I have a military background. I was flying helicopters for 16 years in the Army. And 4 years ago we founded the company Quantum Systems that is developing vertical takeoff, fixed-wing UAVs for all kinds of use cases. We have about 30 resellers worldwide that distribute our systems into mining applications or agriculture. But the project with SANBS is one of the biggest one we have so far, and we're very happy about that. I was very happy to get addressed by Jonathan, whom I met, that I think was 4 years ago in Dubai, when Quantum was participating on the Drones for Good competition. That was a competition with more than 800 entries, and Quantum was able to finish second. And I think even back then, Jonathan had the idea about using UAVs for cargo applications, for blood logistics, and I was impressed. I mean, your team, they are serious. They came to Germany, they took a close look at that, they told us exactly what they need, and here we are, and I'm happy to take it from here. Basically, we use the Tron UAV, which is about a 14 kilo maximum takeoff weight platform, and we modified it for you. Some of our customers install LiDAR instruments for measuring, and we adjusted that cargo area and put a cooling system in it so that when we transport the blood from A to B, it stays exactly at the temperature needed, and we can monitor that process while it's flying to make sure the cold chain never gets broken. I think there's multiple ways how we can profit from each other. You know, we have the technology of flying the UAVs. You obviously have the vision and the place and space to do this, and you have a need, so that's a win-win situation. We get relevant information from you to make our products more reliable and customize them for the fit you need. So that's where Quantum can learn from that. Also, I think South Africa as a whole could profit a lot from this project. Integrating UAVs into airspace could be a world's first. So I think there's multiple chances, maybe even thinking a little bit into the future. I think even manufacturing UAVs that were designed in Germany and that could be manufactured here in South Africa to bring some of the technology we have developed into your country. Yeah, so I think we just have to do it. Let's start. I always tell my guys, focus. I think you have the focus, you want to achieve this, so go that road. Once you have started it, don't look too much left and right, and yeah, step by step, and in the end, every journey starts with the first step, and here we are, so let's do it.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Lowe. I'm the Chief Executive of the South African National Blood Service. I'm a medical doctor. I grew up and trained in Cape Town, South Africa, and then I spent a few years in the UK training in anesthesia. After that, I ran a large listed pharmaceutical company in South Africa and then spent quite a bit of time in private equity in Dubai before joining the South African National Blood Service. SANBS as an entity has a truly noble purpose. We are trusted to save people's lives. We employ at least 2,600 people. We operate across 185 sites countrywide. We partner with the Western Cape Blood Service that also run a similar service to us. And annually we collect more than 1 million blood donations from over 450,000 blood donors that every year give us their blood. We process this blood into various components that are needed for many, many patients countrywide across South Africa. We're a pretty unique blood service in the world in that we offer a true vein-to-vein service. So we collect from donors, we process the blood, we test it, we make sure that it is safe, and then we transport it to our various centers or blood banks that are catered countrywide and are present in almost every rural and district hospital. So we have 185 of these sites, and our loyal, hardworking staff are there 24/7 to make sure that all of the patients in South Africa have access to quality, safe blood. So the South African National Blood Service has been around for more than 76 years now. For the first time in our history, for the last 3 or 4 months, we've had more than 5-day stock. That means that at any one time we are able to provide each and every patient that requires it with enough blood. So in South Africa, in common with many other developed countries, we have big city centers where access to healthcare, access to good private sector and public sector healthcare is readily available. But we also have a significant portion of our population that live outside of these big cities, that live in deeply rural areas, in mountainous areas that are very difficult to get to. In terms of the South African National Blood Service providing blood, there's something called the golden hour. If a patient is hemorrhaging, for example, after giving birth to a child, and postpartum hemorrhage is one of the deepest and most prevalent issues in our society that results in young women dying unnecessarily. If one is bleeding to death, literally the first hour is the most important. We call it the golden hour. It's the time when patients really desperately require a unit of blood, a unit of platelets, or any of the other components that the South African National Blood Service readily provides. However, it's incredibly difficult to get from some of our district centers via helicopter or via car through to these either midwife obstetric units or more deeply rural areas. So for this reason, countries like Rwanda, Tanzania, Uganda and others have started drone programs. The South African National Blood Service call to action is no different. We certainly firmly and strongly believe that putting the patient first and being a true vein-to-vein service and making sure that each and every resident of South Africa has equal access to blood means that we have to access and we have to provide blood to these deeply rural areas. So for this reason, the SANBS drone campaign was put together. I myself am a drone pilot and have had quite a passion for this over the years. I did meet the Quantum team some years ago, but when coming to SANBS, what we did first and foremost was convene a team of people that were galvanized and interested and had the requisite disciplines to be able to really bring this dream to life. And I'm deeply thankful and appreciative to the drone task team that was put in place about 18 months ago for firstly the research that they did that resulted in us coming down to a VTOL, which is a vertical takeoff and landing aircraft. This is unique in the sense that it gives the blood service the ability to take off from a specific site, to fly like an aeroplane, and then to land like a helicopter, instead of requiring a landing strip, instead of requiring all sorts of complications that one sees in traditional quadcopters or helicopters in terms of engine failure and other such things that could result in these aircraft falling from the sky. So the SANBS VTOL that we have co-developed with Quantum Systems is completely unique in that it takes off like a helicopter, it flies like an aeroplane, it lands like a helicopter, but has the additional safety component of having the ability to glide. So if any of the engines fail at any time, this aircraft can glide safely to the ground. In addition, what our drone task team looked at very carefully, because we're so familiar with the logistics related to blood, was the temperature, the gravitational forces, the atmospheric pressure, and all of the other variables that blood is exposed to in such an operation. So for this reason, the SANBS VTOL, or the Tron as we call it, has the ability to monitor and cool blood or its blood components throughout the flight. So in real time, we can measure exactly what is happening to the blood. So the integrity of our supply chain from a safety and a quality perspective is absolutely guaranteed. We're extremely excited about this new venture. We firmly believe that we will be saving many, many lives. We are partnering with the Civil Aviation Authority and have the full endorsement of the Department of Health in order to make this very important project happen. What we're going to be doing initially is just a proof of concept, which is a 9-kilometer flight between 2 district rural hospitals, and we will measure how many flights and how many lives we can save. We will demonstrate to the Civil Aviation Authority and the general South African public that we can do this safely and we can do it effectively. And over time, with the full permission and endorsement of the Civil Aviation Authority, we will roll this out into other more deeply rural areas and to the many patients in South Africa that so desperately need and require this kind of service. We're also extremely excited about bringing this kind of service to our very own country and to the very people of the South African National Blood Service. So you will already probably have met Lebo, who will be our first drone pilot. There will be many others like her. So we will be training up the people that work in our district and our rural blood banks to be able to fly these drones, to be able to accept blood and blood products that are so desperately needed by the patients that require it, so that when we get to that golden hour of being able to save lives, we will be able to do it far more effectively and efficiently, I think, than we've ever been able to do before. Every day as a SANBS employee, we're just so privileged to be able to touch the lives and to save so many people's lives and to change families, often forever. A young child with leukemia, mothers that are giving birth and have postpartum hemorrhage, people that are hurt in car accidents. We understand also the scourge of violent crime in our country. And so often every day SANBS is called to action to provide life-saving blood and blood products. And each blood donation that is given by our donors can potentially save at least 3 lives. And we're deeply, deeply thankful to those almost 500,000 donors that every day give a piece of themselves to make sure that the fabric of our society is held together. This drone project just takes us to another level. It will be so exciting to get to the places that we just haven't been able to get to. There are lives out there in our country that we have been unable to save, that our cars and our trucks and ambulances and even helicopters just can't get there quick enough. We know how quickly an eagle flies. We know how quickly things can, they always talk about as the crow flies. Truly what this drone service will do is bypass the roads, fly through the mountains and be able to get to these patients that so desperately need blood. And we're so deeply thankful to all of our donors and for all of the people that have come together to be able to make this happen. Firstly, our own staff, those that have been training up to be drone pilots, the drone task team themselves who've given over and above the call of duty. These people all have day jobs, but they've actually come together to work together to make this dream happen. In doing this, they've developed, I think, some amazing new technology as well in terms of the cooling component, in terms of just the way we've worked with Quantum Systems, who've also really come to the party and addressed the need. We're hoping that over time that technology also creates more jobs in South Africa through Quantum sharing their technology with South Africans like ourselves to be able to even build these drones locally. This really would be another part of the dream that we have. We're also deeply appreciative to the Department of Health, who've held our hand and guided us and opened up the various hospitals that we've looked at the proof of concept at. And the Minister himself, Minister Motsoaledi, has given his full blessing and endorsement for this very important project. And we're deeply appreciative to him for his time and his wisdom and guidance in helping us get this together. And last but by no means least, the Civil Aviation Authority, who are there to protect all of us, to protect the skies, to make sure that there is absolute governance in terms of the way aircraft are regulated in South Africa. We're deeply appreciative to them for holding our hand in this journey and continuing to help us as we enlarge the program through the proof of concept and then later on hopefully start to roll this out in other rural centers in our country. So thank you to everybody that's been involved in this project. We deeply appreciate your time and effort, and we certainly look forward to firstly saving more lives and secondly having a real South African success story in this wonderful program. Thank you very much.